shoot. Oh, yeah, yeah. Right there. Perfect. Perfect. Really dark, but that's fine. Hey, chat. How's it going? I know. Big surprise. Woohoo. I'm here. Didn't expect to see me back so soon now, did you, huh? Huh? No, I'm joking. I'm assuming you did. After all, I am a man of my word, so of course I would be back. But how's everyone's day been? I spent mine sleeping in after staying up until 2 yesterday. Now my sleep schedule is slightly thrown off, but that's fine. Doesn't need to be perfect or anything, right? Let's set it there. Trying to figure out some of my audio settings, Oh, I was doing some tests earlier and I realized my mic audio is way quieter than every other audio. Unless I'm like yelling. So, figured you didn't want me to be yelling now, did you? Unless you did. Stupid fly. Shoot. But you may be wondering, Malachi, why is it so dark in your room? Very simply, my PC was overheating and lagging really bad earlier. That's partly why I didn't stream it earlier, because it was kind of jittery and choppy. Just like the weather we had in St. Louis the other day. I don't live in St. Louis. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know if there was choppy weather in St. Louis or not. There might have been. I don't know. I mean, of course there wasn't. I'm not telling you to batten up your hatches and to hide in the walls. Definitely not. No, never. I would not. That's completely utter bonanzas and wild. But, as per the title of the stream, since I'm not just going to keep talking with nothing to do, I'm going to switch over to kind of the other stuff that was going on. So, if you can read, which good news, you can. I believe in you. You are a functioning person of society, I think. Because that's what it yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm going to be doing some, I don't know, news roundup, some stuff that I found interesting that you might all like. Considering I don't know what to play, and also my internet wasn't doing too hot earlier, so I don't necessarily want to be playing some Frogger. I might be playing some Death Road later. I might try to do that. But right now, I have some ideas to just share some of the stuff that's been going on in the, I guess, movie, news, entertainment, that sort of stuff. But let's hop into it. Alright, so just starting out, I'm here over at Screen Rant. It's my go-to spot for any sort of new news, just because like any news source, they report on everything. And if another place like, I don't know, Hollywood Reporter, or say like Access Hollywood or anything like that. I didn't spell Hollywood. Doesn't matter. I thought no, never mind. But like they collect news on everything going on, so there's no reason not to just use one site. There might be some like first come first like big news, but if you're gonna be getting into any sort of this entertainment news or just media news in general, you don't really need to be shopping around too much. Unless you want to find all sorts of different news. Like, I don't get a lot of tech news from Screen Rant or anything like that because most of their stuff is, after all, movies, TV shows. They did try a tech division for a while, but I don't think it lasted. That's funny, but I guess we can start with this one here. What? I'm not using ad blocker. I don't know what you're talking about. Who would be using ad blocker? But as you may all have been aware, there was a new Toy Story movie. Lightyear. Chris Evans going from Captain America to Space Ranger. Star Spangled Patriot to Star Spangled Space Explorer. I don't know. It seems like he's got a theme running. But anyways, there's all sorts of different controversy with this film. The whole recasting of a classic character, instead of Tim Allen, caused a little bit of a backlash, but for the most part, people seem to be fine with it. I don't know. I personally am just wasn't a big fan of the Toy Story series to begin with, so that nostalgia is not there for me. I might get crucified for saying that, but I said it, so that. But the other big news with it was the first animated on-screen lesbian kiss. I think. I think that was the whole big to-do and fuzz about this movie. It got banned in some. Well, it was possibly getting banned. It was banned in some Asian countries for having that scene, and supposedly that scene has been censored from the Latin America continent or Latin America markets, but I don't know of anything else beyond that. But obviously, big to do because getting banned from a country means no money, and Lightyear did not make money. And that does not mean good for a possible sequel or anything like that. You know how studios work. But yeah. Oh, there it is. So, going from here, let's see. We've got a domestic of 57 million, international 33 million, worldwide 90 million. Seems great. 90 million bucks? That's a lot of money. A lot of money, however, compared to what their budget of 200 million. If not more, because budget is very, very hard to pinpoint unless they straight up tell you, because there's the possibility of it not exactly be. It's more than likely always higher, because then you have marketing costs and just ads are running everywhere. So the actual budget of making the film and then marketing the film can generally be two different budgets, though sometimes it's just straight up just they didn't market it, so didn't have that expense, and therefore maybe it didn't make money. But this one was a big one. However, I am confused because I don't think that they marketed it that much. I think they were going off of the idea that Lightyear, Buzz Lightyear, Toy Story, Pixar boom, hook, line, and sinker, should just straight away be a dead victory. But no. Didn't seem to do that well. Now, I have not seen it. I have also not watched any reviews on it because I'm just lazy. But I am looking at the numbers and seeing that nobody, or at least the amount of people that saw it, was not that many. And as I have mentioned before, there was the controversy over the lesbian kiss, lesbian couple, however that was done up in the movie, the banning or possible censorship, and all that. And controversy is never good for a film. Never. Because that means it draws unwanted eyes. But it can also cause eyes that were like, oh, I heard about this thing, but I don't really keep up with it. Like, if you keep up with a film's development and production, it can change your opinion of how it's going to go and if you're going to go see it or not. And maybe you just don't pay attention to it. And therefore you're like, oh, you see an ad for it and you're like, movie. Maybe I'll go see it because that's what movies are for. But then if there's drawing in a bunch of negative feedback or just controversy because of what is in the movie, which I don't understand for this one, because I feel like if people had just shut up and didn't bring it up, nobody would have really made a big to-do about it until they saw the movie, and then it would have spread around just like dozens of other movies. One movie that comes to mind is Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker had a lesbian kiss in it that we didn't know about it until like the day of the movie coming out, because people had seen it and were like, oh yeah, there's a lesbian kiss in it. So that obviously would be like, oh, okay, so that's new, but people are already going to see it. And I guess that brings in the whole big to-do of it is, are people homophobes, or are they just not wanting to see this sort of stuff pushed in children's movies? My goodness. My fly is a den of thieves and flies. Mainly just the flies. So, like I said, I haven't watched any reviews, but everyone that seems to be talking about it in a negative light. They don't seem to like it or anything like that. But kind of just a lackluster film that, I'll admit, looks kind of cool. It looks, dude, like any Pixar movie, it looks great. Like, just looks beautifully done. So, like, if we look at the Rotten Tomato, I haven't checked this for a few days, so it might have gone up. Oh, there it is. So yeah, so Lightyear is at a 76. Audience score is at an 85. So, like, obviously, most people are liking it. An 85 is a killer sign to have. But then just, why aren't people watching it? My theory goes into the whole idea of when this movie came out, or when it was first announced. Is it a movie we really wanted? We've already had this character, Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear. We've already had this character in 4 other movies, not to mention all the different, like, animated shows and whatnot that they've done over the years between the movies. So Buzz, Woody, Jesse, the whole rest of the gang, their story has already been said. And with the send-off of 3 and 4, honestly, because both of those were just I don't know. Money is the real answer. Because if you can get money from something, yeah, do it. So obviously, Toy Story, big, huge franchise for Pixar. But then, is it something people really want? I think that's really what it came down to. I don't think it was anything like the fans are homophobic or the fans are racist or the movie was bad, like an actual bad movie. No, not what I meant to press. I just think it's a movie that people didn't necessarily want to see. Or it could just be because of everything else that's in the box office right now. I mean, if we look at Top Gun, 900 million. Dude, 900 million? That's crazy. That's 900 million. Especially off of a budget of 185 million, I believe it was. They've made back buckets of money. So Top Gun is riding high. Then next to it, we also have Jurassic World Dominion, which, unlike Lightyear, is getting terrible reviews. Nobody is liking that movie. Like, the reviews I've seen, people are like, terrible story, terribly executed. But the draw of the Jurassic World franchise, Jurassic Park, and the fan service of, oh, the original trio's back. It's enough to draw in. Plus, also, Chris Pratt is still on a huge streak, so there's that. But, like, that movie has more going for it than Lightyear. It's a conclusion to a trilogy that has made massive money already. Top Gun Maverick is a long, like, what, 20... It's been 20 years since the first Top Gun. So, people are like, oh, let's see. And even though this one was stuck in, like, development hell for so long, people seem to really just want to see what's going on with that series and Tom Cruise, because this was supposed to come out, like, 3 years ago. No, 2 years ago. 2020. Still, almost 3 years now. So, is it fan hatred or just fan division? Is it consumer division? I think it's the latter. Or the former. I think it's a combination of both. Because Lightyear is made, obviously, for a younger audience. Top Gun Maverick, I've heard, is pretty much for the older generation. But I think plenty of people that are fans of the original will take their kids to see it. I'll probably end up going to see it with my dad. I still haven't seen it. I don't see a lot of movies. And then Dominion probably is the biggest drawer because it was looking promising leading up to the release, and then the release came and everyone's like, oh no, this thing is. But however, going off of that, of movies that have released into theaters, let's go into a movie that is about to theoretically release. Very up in the air. So, Chad, I don't know if you've heard of this. I didn't hear about it until earlier today. I saw some people tweeting about it because Twitter is the place to go if you to know that anything is racist anywhere. Because obviously, that's just where you go. Wait, what? what's going on. 1 second. Oh my goodness, chat. This is so fun, isn't it? Okay. Okay. Seems like I fixed it. Don't know what it was, but I fixed it. Alright. I'm gonna take this to replug in my light. Where's my light? There's my light. Hi. You can see me better now, maybe. Unless you didn't want to, in that case. There, now you can't see me at all. So, obviously, as I was saying, Spider-Man Lotus. It was a fan project that was announced last year. I think I'm not too... I don't know too much of the following. I haven't been following it, but it gained some traction because it was a fan Spider-Man film that people are, well, were hyped for, are still hyped for. It's a little hard to tell, especially since some of the some of the news around it I've seen is not good. So obviously the big thing, fan film, Spider-Man Lotus. It follows up the death of Gwen Stacy and Peter reeling from that. So kind of like following up the Amazing Spider-Man 2, but considering, Gwen Stacy's death is a normal thing for the comics at this point. It's also just the comics, so that's it. Well, it all stems around the whole controversy with the main leading man, Warden Wayne. Yeah, Warden Wayne. So, Warden Wayne, a few years ago, it's a little hard to say exactly when it was, but according to his own admission, it was 4 years ago, so that would put it around 2018. He was not exactly the most kind with his words about certain skin colors, I guess you could say, or just ethnicity groups. I'm not going to show them on stream just because I don't want to have, I don't know, just don't want to necessarily show it on screen. It's not exactly pleasant to read, but at the same time, you can find it anywhere. If you look it up, you'll find it. But it came out, I think it was yesterday. It was leaked, and then the guy wrote a formal apology to his Twitter. Right here. So yeah. Was not exactly... I have not seen any homophobic tweets from him or anything, or messages from him or anything, but I mean, I don't know if that really matters. He was still not exactly the kindest about it. But the main reason I bring this up is because of the bigger reason, the bigger problem that I see. Because he cites his reasoning for being or saying those things in the messages. That it stemmed from his Christian upbringing in, what was it, Arkansas, I believe. And that is a big doozy for me because obviously, as a Christian, I do not condone any sort of homophobia or racism, any sort of thing, because obviously God created us all equal. We are all created his image, and using words that are demeaning to other races or your own race or however you want to put it, stupid fly flea. It's just not cool. In that, I wanted to briefly talk about the whole, or just bring up, like, why is it that these instances of, like, racism and homophobia are so prevalent in Christian circles? Because online it seems like every Christian you meet is a horrible racist and would not spare a single cent of change to, like, do something horrible. But every Christian I've known would not be okay with any of the stuff said. Because as Christians, we acknowledge everyone is a human. We are all meant to be together and to live together in this world. We're all meant to live in harmony. Obviously, there are some real people that are just straight up racist, straight up homophobic. But even though Christians have this rep as being homophobic specifically because our religion and our God tells us that homosexuality is wrong, and it's clearly stated that because of the sin in this world, it is something that occurs as you are rejecting the way God created you to embrace this alternative lifestyle. The idea of hating on that person or wishing death or any sort of violence or anything like that is horrible. Why would you want to do that to someone? We all have our own freedoms in this world. I may not agree with your freedoms. I may not agree with who you end up sleeping with. But that's your choice. I don't have any say over that. Something that we often get misquoted on is because we're Christians and we don't believe in homosexuality, because God created man and woman to be together. He created woman to complement man, not man to complement man. In that sense, not in the conjunctional, can't say that word right now. Okay, I'll move on. To have intercourse or anything like that. That is not how humans are designed. If you look at a human body, there's obviously a male and a female body. Those two bodies are the only bodies that should exist in a perfect world. And those are the only bodies that are compatible with each other. But oftentimes that's not how it ends up happening, because of the sin, because of the fleshly desire, because we want to just experience the flesh, because it feels good, because we delude ourselves, or we just have thrown our morals to the wind. Obviously, people have all sorts of reasons and desires for doing anything. I have heard stories about Christians that are homosexual, yet they do not partake in it just because they know it is sinful. I have never talked with one, because that seems like a very weird thing to have a connection with God, to be a Christian, but to still believe that you want to be with the same sex, not to partake in the beauty and the gift that God gave us. Seems just weird to me because that's how God designed us. But this is a corrupted world. So obviously I don't know everything that goes on. This stupid thing keeps flying in my face. And obviously I don't know everything. And then there are some people that as Christians will fully embrace their gay lifestyle, which is sin. That is sin. That is wrong in God's eye because you are knowingly accepting something that God has stated to be wrong and living with it. But the fact is that you growing up a Christian should not make you want to hurt or be racist or homophobic because the Bible does not call us to be that way. God calls us to love one another. Christian, non-Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish, Sikh, Hindu. Dude, there are so many different religions. We're called to each love them and if you become a Christian, then that means you have a higher standard to live up to. So that is the rejection of the sinful fleshly desires, the desires of homosexuality or just straight up just sleeping around, having multiple partners, sharing your temple as if it was a common water bottle. I don't have the exact answer for why it is. I think the big problem, though, is the whole religion. Because, obviously, if you do live in a smaller area that maybe doesn't have as many different perspectives or people of different backgrounds, you may have grown one way, but to have that growing up be a way of putting down other, hey dude, what's up, putting down other people of different cultures, backgrounds, sexualities, that sort of stuff. And that's not cool because the world will be the world. God is God, and God has called Christians specifically to be higher and to have more rigid rules about them, but for the rest of the world, it doesn't really matter, bro. They can be in their own debauchery. So, long and short, God does not hate gay people. Christians should not hate gay people. Christians that do hate, I doubt their faith. I feel that their faith is not true faith. But what's important is to seek after God and to know what is really going on. What God really says. And that's what the Bible's for. But yeah, that was basically my tangent. So, Atomic Blonde, sorry about that. I was in the middle of something. I'm just talking about this fan film, Spider-Man Lotus. was announced a while ago, and it was supposed to be coming out in a few months. But looks like it may not be happening anymore because this guy here was screenshots were leaked or just released of some homophobic, racist stuff he said in the past, causing a whole bunch of controversy on Twitter, that fun stuff. And then yeah, just a whole bunch of unwanted attention, bad attention for this film. So there's that. It looked fairly promising, but if we'll see it is a whole nother question because the one actor in it, Mora Brooklyn, said she was removing all of her involvement with it. So I don't know if that means she's going to be like, I quit, and they're just going to have to work with what they've got. I'm assuming the filming has finished by now. Or that means she's going to be like, no, I don't want my name attached to this project at all, so that means they have to remove everything that has her in it. So that would obviously just be like, oh, shoot, we got to reshoot everything with you. Or it may just get canceled. But long and short of it is, don't do bad stuff, I guess. Don't do stupid things. You always have to have a control of your tongue. And it's hard because we as humans do not have a strict control over our tongue. So sometimes we're going to say stupid stuff. I've said stupid stuff. But internet culture does not allow you to be forgiven or to grow past that. If you said something in the past, you more or less are like, oh, shoot. But that does depend on, I guess, the type of culture you cultivate around you. So, there's that. So if you aren't gathering a good culture, you're not going to have the best, most reasonable responses. But hey, who knows? On the side of it, I saw a lot of people saying that even though the actor said some bad stuff, they'll probably still see the film, especially since it was in the past. 4 years from him saying that is a long time. So we'll see. Sounds like the director, what was his name? Devin J. Knopf is still going to go through with it. We don't know though what will happen, but that's that. But yeah, it looked pretty good. Looks very much like a mix of the MCU and Spider-Man PS4. Moving on to some other news that I saw. This one has a had an interesting thought come to mind because of this. Basically, Christian Bale was taking an interview, just getting asked, so what do you think about taking up this villain in the MCU, in Marvel, since, you know, you were Batman, and something that I think is interesting is the whole I don't know what this is exactly because obviously there's not the rest of the quote, but since he didn't know what the MCU was, right here, he's like, I read that people would go, oh, look at this, he's entered the MCU, and I'd go, I've done what? I haven't entered crap. Thank you very much. I'm like, the MCU? I had to ask what that was. So, like, this harkens back to the old days of, or what was this? This was after Infinity War came out. Gwyneth Paltrow. She didn't even know what movie she was in because of how the filming gets shuffled around so much at Marvel for the movies. So she was just like, the last movie I was in was this. She didn't even know that she was in what? Spider-Man Homecoming. It was Homecoming. She was like, I shot scenes for that? I was in that? Oh, I didn't know. So, going off of that, made me think of how there's this dichotomy in movie culture, right? There's this side that is wholly like MCU stands. They know everything that's going on. They know they go to see every movie. They see everything. Every movie that comes out, every tidbit of news, they eat up, and they're excited for. Or maybe they're just like, oh, that's cool, and then they move on with their day. And then there's the other side of it that they don't know, or they just don't care as much. Like, I have a friend, no, my cousin, he's my friend as well. Don't worry, chat. But he doesn't follow the news as closely as I do. So I usually tell him about some stuff. He tells me about some stuff too, but I generally have to tell him stuff about it. And he kind of watches it more passively. I watch it a little more actively just because MCU was huge. I mean, Infinity War is my favorite Marvel movie. So I was right in at the high climactic point. I was super involved. I was reading news on it every day, just wondering about Endgame. Back when it was rumored to be Avengers Annihilation. Honestly, I would have preferred that, but we got Endgame, which everyone was like, we called it day one. It's like, oh, Doctor Strange just said Endgame. It's gonna be called Avengers Endgame. And then it was revealed in the trailer, I think, or announced a few days before or something. I don't remember. What exactly? But then, with it, tying back to what I was saying, there are the people that are not as involved. There are the people involved in these projects that don't know what's going on. They don't know what movie they're filming, who exactly they're really playing as. I generally hope for the actors that they are looking into their source material or whatever. But there are other people that just don't know. In today's entertainment sphere, there's so many different avenues of entertainment. So you could have someone that knows everything there is to know about the MCU or the DCEU or a YouTuber. And then there's another guy that knows nothing about any of that, but he knows everything there is to know about dirt bikes. And that side of the internet. Dirt biking news, X Games, that sort of stuff. And to think that something like that exists for something as big as the MCU, I find kind of funny because Endgame was one of the biggest movies of all time. Right up there with Avatar. Oh, my throat. Oh, I gotta talk slower. But then, we go into we're going into a new dawn of movie because something that I felt and I've seen is with specifically the MCU it's gotten so confusing to know where everything is, what's going on. They have so many different Disney Plus shows I haven't watched. They have so many movies that are still coming out. They have 2 more movies coming out this year. Love and Thunder and Black Panther 2. And then I think another TV show actually too. I think there's another Disney Plus show. But like it's so confusing trying to keep up with it. So I can't imagine someone that's busy with their craft like Christian Bale to know like what something is. Like the guy's busy with this project. I and other projects that are behind closed doors probably, or maybe just finished up projects. He's moving into a new project. He's going on the campaign trail for the campaign for the movie, all that stuff. How can someone that is focused on their task at hand know everything? No wonder I don't have anything good to do because I only just pay attention to this stuff. Maybe I'm really learning more about myself tonight than anything. What a shame. Let's see. I had 2 more things to do or to look at. Then Disney's Planet of the Apes. So this is obviously we had the Caesar trilogy, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then War of the Planet of the Apes. And that was back in, when was that? 2010s. Yeah. And then that made money. Was a fairly well received trilogy. Sometimes a little interesting. I think the concept of it was not as engaging as the original. Just because we're seeing it as a different. It's trying to become just this new franchise. So I didn't find it as engaging as the original philosophy, the original ideas. But obviously, there's still money in it. There are still fans. People will still watch it. This trilogy helped cement it as that. And there's another film coming out. But it's supposedly about the new mythology. And it's been worked on for a few years. So it looks like it'll be a continuation of the trilogy that ended. Was that 2017? I think the last one was 2017, if I remember correctly. But, new news. They're hoping it'll be a trilogy, Disney. Of course you do. You want money. Very high on the script that came in last month. They're now set to find the star of the film that will hopefully lead future installments in a new trilogy of films. So, like anything, you can't just have a one-off or a movie that says its statement and then leaves. Very few movies now have to have that. Look at Lightyear. Look at Jurassic World. Look at any other series. Even Top Gun. Top Gun got a sequel. Took them 20-something years, but it still got a sequel. So obviously people are like, let's make a movie for this because what else? But they've been working on it for a few years because this is old news. I had forgotten this was in the works until I saw this earlier because so much news comes out. You hear tidbits, boom, 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 of oh, they're working on a script. Oh, script's done. Oh, they found a director. Oh, they've cast someone. And then the next thing they know, the movie's coming out in 2 weeks. So yeah. So there's that. Find that a little interesting. I don't know. Seems like I hope it does. It harkens back more to the roots. I think that would be more cool than the ape side of it. Like the very first one, Rise of the Planets of the Ape, right? Right. Rise of the Planets of the Ape was the first in the trilogy, right? What the? Why? What did I do? Okay, yeah, it was, yeah. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Why? Wait a second, chat. You see that? Yo, chat. What? Dang, this came out in 2011. I feel old. But their poster here for it is the Russian. Right? That's Russian, chat. Oh, wow. Ah. Rise of the Planet of the Apes trailer. Wait a second. Don't tell me. Do they just. Wait, chat. Oh, okay. No, that's not the trailer. That's just straight up the movie. But yeah. Like I was saying, I think they should go for the human approach. Have a human in this world trying to navigate. They're kind of going off of going that with the last one, with them picking up a girl and kind of just raising her. Right? I think that was the plot of the movie. Dang, dude, it's been a while. Who knows? So, is that other news? I'm sure everyone in chat is going to be excited about this, but Christine Bell, voice actress of. Wait, who did she? Oh, she's what's Elsa's sister's name? Anna. Okay. So this movie, or obviously Frozen, was huge when it came out, and then got a release in 2019, and then Frozen 2 made $1.4 billion. But nobody seemed to really like it, care for it that much. It seemed it wasn't doing so. It wasn't as well loved as the original. So there's that. But I mean, $1.4 billion does speak to Disney. So there's that. And then Christine Bell would go on to say, like, what was this, yesterday? I would like to officially announce with zero authority Frozen 3. So obviously, big news, everyone. Frozen 3 confirmed. It's happening, definitely. But in all seriousness, it probably will happen. Considering how long it took them to make the sequel, I would not be surprised if this one came out. Well, 2013 to 2019 was what? That was 6 years. It's already 2022. So, if this comes out in the next 3 years, 2025 ish, 2025, 2026, right? No, 2025. That would be 6 years. I would not be too surprised. It could also come out faster. Kind of depends. Disney has been on a streak with their last few musicals. Or I guess their last one. Encanto. That one was huge. Kind of depends. I don't remember how much money it made off the top of my head, so there's that. I also would imagine that just basing off the fact that Frozen 2 came out earlier, they probably have something going on in the background. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe they don't. Maybe they never plan to make a third one. Okay, so Encanto made 256 million. Nice. Don't know what its budget was, but Disney, I don't know if they really care. And then Frozen 2. What was the final box office? Just 1.4 mil. Okay, yeah, so it was just 1.4 bill. But yeah, so obviously there was a higher demand for Frozen 2, but considering how the story was kind of destroyed, people may not be as interested in a third one. Why is my throat giving out? I gotta stop talking, maybe. That's probably what it is. Or something else, I don't know. But Encanto was talked about, so Disney is probably gonna greenlit a sequel of some kind. Or a spin-off. I think they're already working on a spin-off in the background, I want to say. But yeah, it's kind of the big news. I don't. What other news do we really have? I guess there's the other news of Ezra Miller has been going on a rampage of character assassination for himself. 1 second, my cat wants to come in. Hey Daniel, do you want to come in? Yes, you do. Yeah, use my bag. But yeah. Ezra Miller has been going on I guess right now he's I don't know if he's exactly on the run from the law, but he's just, no one knows where he is. They somehow lost him. Law enforcement is looking for him, so I'm assuming that means something's going on. But there was a restraining order filed against him. There have been talks about removing him from The Flash, or a future project of The Flash. Flash movie is again indefinitely on hold. Who knows when? Let's just look up some. But the irony of this would be, the irony of this would be if he does end up getting dropped from future movies, he could also possibly be dropped from Fantastic Beasts 4, which probably isn't happening because Fantastic Beasts 3 made such a dismal box office. So yeah. So yeah, he might be released from his contract after the release of The Flash. Oh, it's still set to come out next year in June. We're like almost a year out today. Dang. Yeah, forbidding the 29-year-old. Wait, I did not know that he identifies as a transgender non-binary. And he uses they, them pronouns, of course. So yeah, I guess that was the most recent thing, that accusations of him grooming this kid or grooming other people. So yeah, seems like he's a cheery one to have. So yeah, that's most of the news that I've got. Probably as soon as I end stream, I'll see something that's like, oh my goodness, dude, this is big news, but I'll end it stream. So yeah, with that, I'll bid you farewell. What are you looking at? Oh, she's just licking herself. All right, I'm gonna press out. Lord, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to chat, to speak to the people behind the other screens. Thank you that you have given me this opportunity to share with people and to speak into their lives and to just share what I find fun and interesting. I pray that whatever I said was honoring and good to you, and that people would not hear me but hear you through me. In Jesus' name, amen. Alrighty. See you, chat.